Welcome back, Lord Mann. Thank you very much for joining us again. I just wanted to start by talking about the idea of a community or a group. So often people work to defend oppression against themselves or a group that they're part of. However, you clearly go above and beyond this with a 20-year track record of fighting anti-Semitism, even though that you're not yourself Jewish. So what motivates you to stand up for this and to help the Jewish community?
Well, so what's the role of politicians, national politicians? I was elected for nearly 20 years. That's my role, that's how I define the role. And why was I doing more than others? It was coincidence, circumstance, I'm in the wrong place or the right place at the right time. Like most things in life, especially in politics. I think it's fair to say that I spoke a language that people understood, and therefore there was a lot of demand on me to continue doing it. So I have done both in this country and abroad. It used to be 5% of my time when I was an MP. Now I'm in the House of Lords, it's 95% of my time. So this is now full time in essence, but for 5 years that is a contribution to the health of our society and our country, in my view.
Something in particular that stands out in your time has been when in 2017 there was a huge amount of press coverage after you confronted Ken Livingstone, who called Hitler a Zionist supporter and defended MP Nashar against accusations of anti-Semitism. When you confronted him, you called him a Nazi sympathiser and an anti-semite. So would you be able to possibly expand on what happened and why you decided to confront him about it?
Well, I bumped into him accidentally. The journalist Michael Crick was trailing him in the way he repeatedly does for lots of people, and he was waving at me. I was going to an interview actually on Hillsborough, and the Hillsborough tragedy with the Jeremy Vine show, and I'd been told about what Livingstone had said. I think it was on BBC London, and what really irritated me was I was working with Nashar that day. We had her team, her office. We were assisting her in understanding why what she had said was so offensive to people, and she was willing to learn from that, which is very appropriate and commendable in my view. So we're there working with an MP who said some stuff that was unacceptable, but who wanted to learn why and be educated very sincerely, and at the same time Livingstone's out there defending what she has withdrawn and apologised for, which kind of sums him up. And so I told him what I thought, no more than that. And it's a shame that the TV camera that was recording the best bit of it actually, the cameraman didn't press the record button properly, so there was far stronger stuff. He didn't have an argument. He made it up. He lied. He invented. And he did so for political purpose. And that's as disingenuous as you can get.
Whilst the cameraman might not have recorded the strongest stuff, there was definitely a huge amount of media coverage of your reaction and a huge amount of comments regarding it. Were you surprised by this level of media coverage and outrage?
Not really. I mean, necessarily think you get the front page of so many newspapers, but it was waiting to happen. This growth of anti-Semitism under Corbyn, it was waiting to happen, and the Jewish community wanted something doing about it, and all of a sudden, there's some MP having to go at the man with the worst track record of anyone who's been in Parliament in my time, Livingstone, and telling him what they thought of him. I know from the reaction afterwards, there's a lot of very happy Jewish household that night.
Do you think the situation was dealt with fairly overall?
Well, he got thrown out of the Labour Party. He ran before he was thrown out. He's out of the Labour Party. He's a man who he lost his radio station programme and his income from that. He's a man who can now retire and contemplate what he's done at his allotment, which I think is very suitable.
And just generally from the public, what has been the reaction regarding your opposition to anti-Semitism? And just leading on from that, how have you managed your your very personal abuse that it's been levied on yourself and your family?
Until the last election, the public was rather blasé, the public across the country. But it became an issue in the run-up to the election, and it was an issue out of the election, and British people generally do not like this kind of thing. They do not like fascism, they do not like racism, they do not like anti-Semitism, and they made that very, very clear to people at the general election. So I take a lot of comfort from that. But yeah, I've been targeted by extremists from the far right, extremists from the far left, Islamist extremists. With people have gone to prison because what they've attempted to do to me and my family and my staff, with others who should have gone to prison if the police could properly identify them. So some horrendous stuff. But that's the front line. Thankfully, the very few Jewish people see what I've seen, but that just makes me more resolute. Why should anyone have to suffer that? Why should you have to suffer it? Why should any of your listeners, viewers have to suffer that, even in a small way? This isn't the country that I was born into. This isn't the values of our country. It's not the values and spirit of democracy, and therefore it will be challenged and it will be beaten.
So do you think that all the challenges you've gone through and the attacks on you and your family has actually given you more courage to sort of defend against this kind
Well, I wouldn't have given up being in the House of Commons, which I loved. I think I was quite good at it, representing my constituents, and I think they felt I was good at what I did. I wouldn't give that up just for the House of Lords. The experience I've been through in the last 3 years has confirmed to me that what we've been saying the last 15 years is accurate, but we've not been good enough in persuading people of how serious the situation was becoming. Now we're in a position to do something about it, to turn the situation around. And I'm very, very bullish, very confident on the situation of the Jewish community in Britain now, that we will turn this round. We will destroy the far left anti-Semites and their organisation. We will minimise the far right anti-Semites, and we'll take the battle to the Islamists and the Muslim anti-Semites. And it's that latter battle I think is going to be the toughest, and it's the one that people have shied away from, and I don't shy away from that at all.
And would you say there's been anything which has particularly inspired you or caused you to want to do your work?
No, but when you see people standing up, especially young people, in a very matter-of-fact way, very professionally, very moderately, very modestly, that encourages you to say, well, come on, let's make sure the laws are right, let's make sure the political leaders, civic society is doing its bit. If everyone does their small bit, then we get on top of this scourge of anti-Semitism, and that's always been my call. I'll do my small bit, let everyone do their small bit, then we win.
Well, I certainly think you've done definitely more than a small bit for the Jewish community, so thank you very much, and thank you very much again to everyone who was watching. I'm sure you would have appreciated it and found it as interesting as I did. Thank you very much,
You're welcome,
Lord Mann, for taking time out of your very busy schedule, and please keep updated, subscribe to our YouTube, SoundCloud and Spotify for further podcasts and notices. Thank you very much, and goodbye.